Please introduce yourself.
I'm gonna tell you my name. I'll give you a nickname. Pisang.
Okay, Pisang.
Yes.
Cut. Yeah, you guys. One. Cut.
Okay. Yes.
And she's back. Dumelang bagolo. Lina la ka ke kamogelo Afrika Segamane, and welcome to episode 3 of Singleness, Sobriety, and Celibacy. Boom, 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 boom. So yeah, man, it's good to see you guys. If you haven't, last week was a very eventful week. We had a conversation with the ever so beautiful Kopano Mashike on prostitution and club culture. And it ended up being a live that I really, really enjoyed. We really did unpack spirituality, what the streets are, gender-based violence as attributed to street culture, and a whole lot more interesting topics. I really enjoyed that live. Yeah, we're doing another one this week, talking about self-love. I forgot what the other part was, but yes, self-love. And we're going to be talking about insecurities in your relationship or any relationship, whether it's a friendship. I'm in the East Rand, so planes are a thing. Bear with me. There we go. So yeah, we're pretty much talking insecurities, whether it be in a friendship, in a relationship, but yeah, and self-love. I think that's very important. So I'm very excited, but this is not what this YouTube video is about. Nope. We are talking celibacy. Since this is a channel about singleness, sobriety, and I wonder why I say sobriety like that. Sobriety sounds cute. Since this is a channel about singleness, or my journey right now with singleness, sobriety, and celibacy, I thought it was fitting to have the celibacy chat. And it's very interesting because I don't even know where to start it, but yeah, like I said, we're going to be vulnerable and open and just talk about anything and everything. So for me to even decide that I'm going to take the celibacy journey and just be faithful to my commitment to Papa God, firstly, I've decided I'm going to be celibate until I get married. Now, I already know this chat. A lot of people are like, you celibate? Nah, sis. But yeah, I have taken the commitment just to Papa God and just to firstly recognize that this body is His. I am His vessel. I am a child of God. I believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ, and therefore I cannot pick and choose what I believe from the gospel. So I've dedicated the rest of my, the rest of my life, let's call it that, to making sure that I live in accordance to my faith. I'm not perfect. I mean, for us to talk about the celibacy journey, I have to be open about my virginity and just my experience with sexual encounters in general. So let's start it from there. Let a story time. So, woo, in the spirit of being transparent, please bear in mind this channel is for everybody to just be open, honest, vulnerable, raw, and just themselves. Like, I'm tired of pretenses. Do you understand what I mean? So this channel is for everybody to be exactly who God intended them to be, as open and as honest as you are. I want you here. This is for you. So before I start my story time, I just had to start it at that. So yeah, story time. I lost my virginity when I was in grade 8, grade 7. Let me not lie. I lost my virginity when I was in grade 7. And anybody who knows me knows that I was a year younger than most of the people in my grade because I started school earlier. So that would make my grade 7 year, I was, instead of 13, I was 12. 12 turning 13. Yeah, because I turned 13 in my grade 8 year in February. My birthday's in February. So yeah, just before I turned 13, I lost my virginity. And I really feel like my relationship with sex, my relationship with just being in a relationship in general, is quite tricky. I use the word tricky a lot because it would describe a lot of the situations that I've been in. But I lost my virginity at a very young age, and because I did, that would mean I was in relationships from a very young age. And I believe you have no business being in a relationship that young. I've been only in long term relationships since my grade 8 year. So I was in a 2-year relationship from grade 8 to 10. Then from grade 11 to first year, I was in another 3-year or whatever you call it relationship. And in varsity, then I was in another relationship. But in between, then I've never actually been single since I lost my virginity, which is what this channel is about. My journey with singleness and sobriety and celibacy are all kind of sort of interlinked because I realized that my relationship with sex is the reason why I felt very dependent on men for my value. Because that's all I was looking towards from a very young age. I mean, all I wanted to be in was a relationship. I was in a relationship, pardon me. I was always in a relationship. In high school, that was it. Like, I was always that girl that was always inside them jolo, which is so weird. But I had no business being in a relationship that young or being in relationships that young because I really do feel that attributed to the way I behave in relationships, and I behaved in such a manner that outside of me requiring my value to come from men, I believed that it was very necessary for me to always seek their approval. I believed that I had to do everything that was necessary to make sure that I kept a man, because that was I don't know why, but that was my main objective, always to keep. I was always afraid of losing somebody or losing the affection that I gained from that person. And I don't know where that stems from, to be honest, because it's not like kohaye or at home I was not given the attention, but I really do feel like I felt a void. So all of these conversations will be interlinked, I guess. Me being raised by my stepfather, I always felt like there was a gap for my dad. And only now, at my big age of 23, am I realizing that my stepfather has always been exactly the type of father I needed. Not knowing to appreciate him. I mean, sure, he's done so much for me. He never made me feel like I was any less than I was, or any less of a child than I was. So it's not like the affection mochaye ineseteng. I think really it was just a self thing. I didn't know who I was. And I think having this conversation makes me realize not knowing who you are at a very young age, or trying to attach your value to someone else or your self-image to somebody else. Not only do you lose who you are, you lose who you could potentially be because you're always attached to somebody else. So, man, I'm learning this like, what? Let's call it from 13 to 23, 10 years later, that actually I've been doing it wrong. I've been doing relationships wrong. And that's why the celibacy is needed, I guess. Not only because it's a commitment that I've made to Papa God for my own benefit, because I know that's how He wants relationship to be done, but also I realized that there wasn't much education around sex, and there wasn't much education around how to, or how not. How do I put this? There wasn't much education around. I keep wait. Yeah, I'd just say there wasn't much education around the benefits of staying pure and the benefits of keeping this prized possession of yours, irrespective of what relationship you're in. If your relationship can't respect that boundary, then you probably shouldn't be in it. So I didn't have that. I went to a Christian school, but we never really touched on those topics, which I think is really important, as a young girl, because I got caught up in the relationship life so much that I was even the one who was looking at other girls weird when they weren't sexually active. And it's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to stay the way you are. Please, if there's anything you're going to hear from me now, keep it. It's a prized position. It's so prized possession. It's yours. It's yours, and it's for your husband. It's for one man. Please. So I know a lot of women are what they call sexually liberated now, but I don't think that's the. I don't think sexual liberation should come at the expense of you losing yourself every time. There is a time to be sexually liberated, and I think that time should be in marriage, in the appropriate boundaries that God created in it. I think that's when you get the best out of it. So yeah, I think the reason, or the manner in which I did it, contributed to a lot of my heartaches and a lot of the things that I went through in different relationships. That is, growing up, I was dealing with grown woman problems in my teenage years, like infidelity and having to deal with a man not coming home and stuff like that. Like dilonyana tse di yalo, because yeah, man, it's just things that you shouldn't be dealing with in a relationship, but you do, because the attachment that you have to that person is sexual and is spiritual. That is, there's a bond that you've created with that person, so you end up putting up with more than what you should because of the attachment that you have there, which is what sucks about it. So yes, in my celibacy journey, I've come to the realization that you gain so much more by staying pure than you do by letting people have parts of you that are sacred. I've learned to have an intimate relationship with God, and just sex is a part of it. Like, and don't get me wrong, like, now my relationship with the act. I know I was pagati inside, guys. And I don't want to be that hun that makes it look like sex is bad. No, it's not. In the parameters in which God created it, it's amazing, I'm sure. But anything before then just brings about things that you're not supposed to be dealing with. Do you understand? So I think for me, celibacy means not only the commitment to Papa God, but to myself, because I'm making sure that my husband gets the best parts of me, gets a whole me, a me that's reconnected to self, a me that doesn't have parts of them stripped away. And it's debatable because people will look at it like, oh, but you've already lost your virginity or whatever. Yeah, cool. But this is different. It's a recommitment to self, and it's a recommitment to my life partner, whoever that will be. Shout out to you. Whoever you is. I'm waiting. I'm ready. No, I'm not ready yet. I'm lying. If I do this, I'm granted I'm really going to do this until I get married. So however long that takes, it is what it is. But yeah, I'll be documenting my journey. It's not easy, man. Like, yo, when you're used to being in sexual relationships, as long as I have, uh, you'll come to notice that even your relationship with small things change. Like, damn, I used to have an issue with pornography. I was pagati inside from a very young age. There was a time in varsity where I had a whole folder. Um, my roommates from varsity can attest to this. I had a whole folder of pornography, and that's when I realized, no man, I actually have a very bad relationship with sex, and I have a very bad relationship with myself. That I think that that's what it's supposed to feel like, or that's what it's supposed to look like. Um, yeah, it's a recommitment to self, man. I'm just doing this to say, it's okay. It's okay to be celibate. Um, I think this is how God wants it to be, guys. Until Rinyala, I really think. Do you know what? Nah? I really think that God knows what He was doing. He's God. He knows exactly what He was doing. So I think it's supposed to be in the parameters of marriage to avoid you getting attached to people who don't have the intention of staying. Because as much as we try to cover it up, that shandis hurts. Like, it hurts when you think somebody's there to stay, but they don't. And every time you're the one opening yourself up spiritually to be connected to somebody long term, but you end up lost and alone. I just got fed up with that feeling of not ever being enough for somebody because I was never enough for myself. So yeah, I think I'm just having these conversations about the true reality. Sorry, I'm still me. uh, Very cheesy jokes, but yeah, the true raw reality of what celibacy looks like for me now. I'm what, let's call it 3 months in, and it's been tough, but I've gotten used to it. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep going, and I'm just gonna keep holding on to my faith in God. Um, I know that He'll help me get through this. And yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with me, man. Share what's happening. What does your celibacy journey look like? And what are the benefits for you? Before you like, comment, and subscribe, I always say the subscribe word wrong. Subscribe. Before you like, comment, and subscribe, I just like to add this as well, guys. Your womb is where you bring life into the planet. You bring a whole human being into existence from there. So the portal, and I'll call it a portal, where you bring life in, should be sacred. It should be that nobody enters and exits as they please. Do you understand? You bring a whole human being into existence from there. So surely that means it's so sacred that nobody can just, come and go in. You understand? Butom tiklibuheri. Nah. No, babes. It's sacred. And I'm only starting to educate myself on that, and I'm only starting to understand it now. Because I understand the value. When you don't understand your value, you tend to just do whatever because you think it's okay. Now that I see my worth and I see my value, I understand not only the spiritual implications, but the physical ones too. Like, damn, guys, it's not nice feeling emotionally drained and emotionally cut deep whenever you have to detach from somebody because sex was the main objective. And I'm not saying in all relationships that's it, but pretty much, like, where are all of these people that I've had sexual encounters with now? Abayo. And you understand? They've moved on and they're with other people. And, you can't tell me you don't get tight whenever you see somebody you've had an encounter with like that. Whenever you see them go shop on, you already feel like, oh my gosh, It's a lie. It's a lie if you act like you've never actually felt like that whenever you see somebody that you were in a relationship with. Like, there's always something that's brought back into remembrance. And I hated that feeling. So yeah, I don't want those ties with people no more. Like, I just ask God to cleanse me of that. Like, And yeah, it's just heavy carrying people's spirits. Do you understand? Carrying people's weight and their baggage, especially if you've been in a relationship. Pardon me, in a relationship where you've been cheated on, and somebody's had sexual partners outside of you. You can feel it. You can feel that they've been with somebody else. You can feel that that person, whoever they were with, has other people attached to them. It's just heavy spiritually, bro. It's heavy spiritually, and it's not something that I'm willing to do anymore. Like, it's just not nice. It's not nice. So I don't want anybody else to have to go through that. So, like I said, I mean, the sex thing is a choice, but for whoever is watching and really does want to consider celibacy, I really implore you to consider it for the sake of yourself. It's heavy carrying other people's spirits, especially if you don't know your own. Do you understand? Like, you have to know self first. And even in knowing self, it doesn't help to carry other people. It can just only set you back, because those people don't even know who they are, and that's why they're sleeping with every other person that they encounter, or are open to sleeping with other people in relationships. Like, it's just not nice carrying those things, and it's a burden for me. So yeah, man, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please do let me know your sentiments on celibacy. And yeah, our next video, we're going to be discussing more about singleness. You know what? Actually, I had said that I have a podcast starting called Read the Room Podcast. I've had it open for a while, and that was the platform where I was supposed to be having these conversations, conversations that are tricky to have. There are a lot of tricky conversations happening right now. Toxic friendships. The other one was trending the other day, and I was just like, Anyway, but yeah, toxic friendships, and not only around singleness, sobriety, and celibacy, but just matters pertaining to self is what I want to talk about. But yeah, man, thank you so much for joining. See you next week on our next upload. Booyah. And thank you. See you next week.